Good evening, Monadnock region, and welcome to Go Mo Tonight, the Monadnock region's only locally focused comedy podcast. We're here in the Space Lounge this week. I'm your host, Christopher DiLoretto, and I'm here with both of my delightful co-hosts this week.
Zoe Roten-Heinsman.
And I do just have to make this one little comment that I thought was funny. Zoe knows this, but a lot of times I'm sitting down here and there might be a kid or two in the room while I'm preparing an episode for release, and like getting the, and that involves the audio and then the video as well. So the beginning of the episode will often inadvertently play many times. And Manny started doing impressions. My youngest, my 8-year-old, can do an impression of me saying, "Good evening, Monadnock region, and welcome to." He's got the cadence right and everything. I thought that kind of cute, kind of funny, but good to be here. We did have another week off for the 4th of July last week, and obviously Sam was not with us for the week before that. And it is, despite our many jokes, it is not because he was too cowardly to be associated with us. He actually was, as I said, he was in Salisbury. But welcome back, Sam. Nonetheless, you have had some difficulties of late.
I have, yeah. I got my Facebook account not just hacked, as we colloquially refer to it as now, but literally taken over and posted horrible, lewd videos on my Facebook account. And Facebook immediately shut it down, and then I tried to appeal it. And Facebook, working primarily, if not exclusively, on automation, didn't seem to work the whole appeal process, and so they permanently disabled my account. Yeah, sorry, fuck yourself, take care. And that was that. And so, yeah, I don't have one now. And my business, I still have it on there because I had sort of an alternative account as an administrator. More so I could go on just to manage the business without like getting sucked into Facebook.
That's smart.
Yeah, which now I'm considering whether or not I even want to do Facebook,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably a good thing for me given my work, but it certainly has been, but that was the kick in the pants,
I mean, I will say, I do think it's your personal account that is the reason that people know you as Sam Abbott Sells Homes.
It literally is. That's where it started, Yeah. And I mean, I did that so every time I posted, people would see and remember that I sell real estate. And now I've kind of branded that way since then. But that is indeed where that's.
Because I mean, there's been times when I've been like, yeah, Sam Abbott, and they're like, sells homes. Like that. That's how they. Instead of saying yes, they're like, yeah, sells homes.
Does Facebook refer to you as Mr. Holmes?
It doesn't refer to me, but yeah, the last name would be Sells Homes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is it like hyphenated? Mr. Sells Homes?
Just Sells Homes. They don't make you put the hyphens in. They weren't too particular about the name thing. As long as you don't change it too often or make it too horrible, they tend to let it fly, I think. But I saw somebody else.
If you think about it, like that's not that different from like a certain like middle Northern European last names, right? Like Butcher, Miller, Drinkwater. Like all of these names that just refer to an occupation, right? And so right. Sam sells homes. Yeah. Sam sells homes. Yeah, but tell us about how it happened. How did they get you?
Right,
because it's relevant. It's very important.
So it was a phishing email, and I like to think I'm a pretty great guy, but I don't think I'm that goddamn important, But I got this email, and it was a Facebook meta ad something or other, and I do have an advertising account through my business. And when I check my email, I look at it on my phone in Gmail as all accounts, right? So if anything that's not my business account, I typically don't log into the other 8 emails I have. I do it that way. And it was. I mean, the only way to know would have been to click on it and check the sender, right? Which was not a Facebook email address. Had I done that, it would have been very clear. But otherwise, it was, perfectly believable. except for one typographical error that I did not notice until I already had this happen to me. Facebook Manager, MENAGER. Fucking bastard, you know? And that's how they got me. It was basically saying one of my ads had been reported, and I had one retargeting ad that was long standing, and I'm like, it's probably one of these people who got pissed off and said it was, you know, whatever, reported it for some reason, or another agent who just was like,
people do that. People do report things just because they're annoyed, you know?
Right. Yeah. And I'm like, you know, whatever. So I clicked into the thing and had to log in.
Yep.
And so doing, you know, wrote my little thing like, you know, I sell real estate, big fucking deal. Like none of the ads are that bad. And then the other night, it was like maybe the next night or a night after that, it was 9:00. I got an email that said, you know, some random email address has added themselves as an admin on your account.
Oh,
and I'm like, what the fuck is this, dude? And I'm like, it was like Sarah something or other at gmail.com. And I went and looked, and I sat down on my computer, and I mean, like I looked this up after. I guess it's fairly common, but they post things that Facebook will recognize as like off limits, you know. And like I'd read that other people they'd post like, you know, video footage from like Afghanistan where they're killing American soldiers and shit, you know.
Oh Jesus!
Or like they'll change your you know name to the ISIS flag or some shit.
Oh, crazy! So they're So they're just doing it to fuck with you. To fuck with people.
It's strictly to fuck with you. Yeah.
Why? Like I just don't get
no
it.
Angle really. I mean, the only thing I read is one person got his PayPal hacked, and they like paid for an ad through the ad thing. It was like $750. I don't know. Mine. They didn't try that with me, as far as I know. I took all my shit off PayPal anyway. But what they posted on mine was I mean that's bad, you know. But what they posted on mine, I think was worse. I mean, it was horrible. And of course, it's me. I get fucking 2,200, 2,300
Facebook
I know. Friends. I sit down at the computer and I see these videos, and I'm like, and it's my account. Like, how do you report it? You can't, you know. And they just posted one after the other, and it was just like, oh my! I'm really glad they shut it down so quickly. I hope nobody had to see it. And
you know, my guess, Sam, too, though, is that they're probably their automated things that catch things probably held it up from going into people's feeds before they actually shut it down anyway. So, like, I bet you won't hear anybody say that. Like, if you have a Facebook stalker who like was on your page and like scrolling the Sam Abbott Sells Homes page, they might have been able to see it during that window, you know, but they probably didn't put it in the algorithm, like in the algorithmic flow, is my guess. Because I mean, Sam, I mean, you know, I mean, I'm on Facebook kind of a lot, and you know, people that I'm close to, like you guys, like and neither of you post that much. So when you do, like I usually see it. It shows it to me, you know, like it knows, you know, and I didn't see any of that. So if I didn't see it, I bet you nobody saw it.
Yeah, no, I hope not. It was really.
I mean, because I would have noticed that. I mean, Sam's posting some weird video. Let's see that. Holy shit, Sam, what the fuck's the matter with you? Know, like,
right? Yeah. Like, oh my god.
No, so, actually, I mean, I would have immediately known it wasn't you.
I was horrified and freaking out, you know. But after the fact, I'm like, okay, it's probably unlikely that anybody did see that, and anybody that I only talked to a handful of people, but nobody.
And at least if it, you know, worst comes to worst, if anybody did see it, no one's going to assume that you did it. You know what I mean? Like your story of being hacked is very believable because you know anybody who even knows you from your like logo, you know what I mean, is gonna be like, that guy wouldn't do that on purpose. You know?
And I think most people have encountered that kind of thing before or like heard of it. You know, it's not like, oh yeah, you know, you're not making up a story that doesn't ring true.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's the only thing I'd really encountered with, like, you see, like, there's somebody that you're friends with and they have, it's like a copied account, you know, and they like, you accept the friend request, they have no friends, you're like, oh, weird, you know, and then they send you a weird message. They're like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, I haven't talked to you in 15 years, like, but I'll be like, it's going okay, you know. And then if they act weird or ask me for money or something, I just report it, you know?
Yeah. Right.
This was like full-fledged, like, you know, blitzkrieg, fucking destroy your Facebook account. And I'm like, why? Like, what's the angle? I think it's like a fucking terrorist attack. It's just to sabotage somebody. fuck their life up, But I'm not that bitter about it, but it was in the moment, it was just like, Jesus, this is just terrible, And
That
then
is terrible.
Facebook would be like, oh, sorry, fuck yourself. Was a little. I mean, I was just surprised,
That's disappointing. Not surprising, but disappointing. Yeah, and so, but I do just want to point out, though, to our listeners out there, that this is what happened to the town of Peterborough. And what I have been saying consistently since it happened to the town of Peterborough is that this can happen to anybody, and that you shouldn't be calling people idiots or saying that the town was negligent or anything like that. This could happen to you. This could happen to you, Like Sam is not an elderly computer illiterate person, like he said, he's a person with 8 email addresses, who like juggles business on a phone, you know what I mean? Like, and so he so he knows his shit, and it still happens. Like I said, I know of businesses.
It's such a gotcha. I mean, like, I get it, and I can see how it's like a bad move, but I mean, it was like 8:30 at night or some shit, and I'm like, oh, this is weird, Like, that's what happens. Like,
that's what they bank on. That is what they bank on. It's a volume game, So they're doing this to so many people that hoping that one of the 1,000 of you or whatever reads it at 8:30, tired and like doing something else at the same time. Click, 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 and it's over. And that's literally how they get you. And, as I was, like I said, I've known businesses this happened to. I've known of tech companies that this has happened to. And as, and I've been through cybersecurity training, and one of the things that they actually teach you is that and I think that this applies to you, even though it wasn't a money thing. And I definitely think that it applies to Peterborough. They were talking about it in a corporate context, but the main targets for these are small to medium sized businesses, because the big ones, they have multiple ways of repelling a ransomware attack. Say, you know what I mean? They can have backups, they can have money, they can have all these things that like they can beat you through size and resources. They also have better systems to catch these things. That all those things. But the small to medium size, right? Lower resources, you're dealing with, ordinary people. And it's the same, like I said, same with the town, small to medium sized town. And, you could take a lot more money in theory from Manchester, right? But you're not going to be able to have there's going to be too many layers of bureaucracy in Manchester to get through, even if the phishing attack works initially, right? But in a town like Peterborough, small number of people, small operation, that's just the nature of it. You can't just wish your way out of that. So I do think that's, I'm sorry that it happened to you, Sam, but I do think it's a good lesson for people to see is that it can happen to anybody. Don't be too judgmental about the town, towards the town over this, or the individuals who did lose their jobs anyways, which is normal. That's to be expected. But again, let's not hate them as people, because it, like I've been saying this whole time, it could have been you. I swear to God, I don't care who you are. It could have been you. So good to know. I hope you come back though, Sam. But as I've experienced in the past, in less nefarious ways, Facebook customer service is non-existent, appeals process non-existent. Getting a human to talk to you is impossible.
Like the IRS, you're like, fucking Christ, I mean, awful. At least the IRS will send you a mailer. They'll be like, you gotta wait 12 weeks to get it, but it's like,
at least the IRS has a phone number. At least the IRS has a phone number you can call.
12 hours on the phone waiting to get a but still, yeah.
But it exists, and Facebook, forget it. And it's terrible. And we all know Facebook is bad, at this point. And some of us are never probably going to be able to get off of it until we're forced off of it or it dies, because that's just the way it is. And I mean, I was saying to Zoe yesterday, like, part of it for me too is that like it's just such an easy way to find people, and it's not even that I'm looking for anybody anymore, but I would like to be found if someone's looking for me. And it's a really easy way to do that. And it happens once in a while. And I just don't want to walk away. I could see myself, if I ever develop the backbone of discipline in my life, not going on it as much. But I can't delete the account. I can't. Terrible as it is, as a company, everything about it. And I don't even blame them that much for putting us in bad moods or whatever, which they do, or they have done in the past. They have intent, like they actually know how to fuck with our emotions by tweaking our feed, and it works, and it's real, and they're really good at it, and they supposedly do it less now, or they do it in a more benevolent way.
Why would they?
Why would they? But nothing about that is good.
So maybe Sam should take this golden opportunity.
I guess so.
That's what I read. People are like, hey, maybe I'll fucking not go back on. I'm like, I've deleted it before. They always they lure you back in.
They get you back.
What'd you say? You go TikTok?
I said time for you to go to TikTok, yeah. Take that leap.
Well, I mean, crazier still, the other day, I just called people on my phone for work, just to say hello. And I'm like, that's part of it too, is Facebook gives me this false sense of connection. That's really it's there. It's not nothing, but it's vague and kind of superficial, and so to actually reach out and connect more with people.
Don't call me though.
I won't call you.
Yeah.
Right.
Facebook Messenger, a lot of important stuff happens on Facebook Messenger that's real.
It's true.
That's true.
That's true.
Yeah, I have definitely some significant.
I've got a lot of business.
And it could be chat. It just happens to be Facebook Messenger. It's separate from the Facebook feed, right?
That's right.
But like feed bad, chat fine. Don't call me.
It's actually really funny too that you say that, because I have this just rolling group chat with my buddies John and Pat that's been going on for years now, and it's in Facebook Messenger. And there was one of those days sometime in the last 6 months or so when Facebook had their outage for 4 hours or whatever, and we did pretty quickly get back up online on text. We kept it going. But I will say this. Even though it worked fine on text, as a group message and everything, the second Facebook came back, we moved back. Yeah. And I don't have a preference for Messenger in that context. It's just, it's where we talk in me and these two dudes. And, I have people, I talk to you guys mostly on Gmail, on Google Chat. There's some people that I just text or iMessage, but then there's definitely a whole bunch of people that primary method of contact is Messenger, and it's just been like that for years, and so it is.
Yeah, same. I mean, I can't explain it, but different people just have different homes.
Right.
Yeah, in fact, I even have a few people that I know will respond to me faster if I go to Instagram direct messages.
Same. Yeah.
So it is kind of funny that we have all of these different tools that do exactly the same thing, and that we have specific people for each one. And you can't even say, I don't even think you can say specific uses for each one, because the use is the same in all cases.
Yeah,
the use is chat. It's just the chat.
There have definitely been times where I've needed to get in touch with someone quickly and sent them the same message on one platform, and then realize no, they're an Instagram person or whatever, and then just take it over there, and then I get my reply that I need. It's weird. Why? I don't know.
It's weird. But whatever you do, don't go to Twitter, and really don't go to TikTok either. That's the thing, is
no, I can see Sam doing one of those dancing, pointing text videos about selling his homes or whatever, dance in front of the house and point.
Here
and the price
are
comes up.
the advantages and some of the drawbacks.
3-bedroom. I can see it. I don't know if that's already a thing that exists, but
it may be. Not for me.
I'm sure there's real estate people that do that. I'm certain
there
of it.
Absolutely are.
I'm certain of it. I just hate that. I mean, I might go over to Twitter if Elon Musk really cleans the place up, you know?
Although I get Elon Musk related news alerts on my phone, not on purpose. I did not sign up for this or choose this.
No judgment, even if you did.
My phone just decided, much like, I don't remember if we talked about this on the podcast, but there was like a cross-country skier that froze his penis, like back in the winter. I think Bill Mullen posted it on Facebook, but I had gotten 2 phone alerts about this news story, but I don't know. I don't know what it thinks of me.
You get some weird alerts. Yeah. That's
but it sends me everything that happens in Elon Musk's life. So I got an alert today. I got 2 Elon alerts today. One about his new secret twins.
Yep.
What?
Yeah, I was going to say his new kids.
Yeah. His new secret twins. And then the second one is that the Twitter deal is in danger. And I didn't read the article because it was like only an hour ago that I got
it. And it's in danger and it's on for like a long time now. And I don't know what's going to happen. And I really don't. And for the record, I don't have any illusions about him being a hero or anything. I do think Twitter could be better if it was the way that he seems to want it to be, though. Even if it involves like user charges. Because I would pay $2 a month for a clean Twitter. For like a good Twitter. That's worth $2 a month to me. 100%. You know? If it's not just a bunch of journalists like showing off for each other and like, yeah, it's a cesspool. Oh my God. Yeah, I waited over there like oh my God, I am so repulsed by it. It blows my mind. But yeah, but Sam, for the record, you looked like you weren't familiar with this story, but Elon Musk had twins like last year with an executive at one of his companies called Neuralink.
That's the one that's gonna does the brain chips.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't he already have twins? Doesn't he have like 3 sets of twins?
He has triplets and twins with his first wife.
Yeah. He literally, like, this is not me joking, like he has like some ideas about helping to populate the world with smart people. Like that's
on his Twitter, the pinned post is about like population growth decline. Or like population decline, however you want to phrase that. Like the birth rate is falling. That's a better way to phrase it.
I think it's important to have a lot of for him personally to have a lot of offspring.
That's one thing ideologically, but then how the fuck does he keep cranking out twins and triplets?
Well, many women, men can do that. You see,
I think that the triplets at least were IVF, and the twins may well.
I'm sure there were I'm sure there were some fertility drugs and stuff involved somewhere along the chain. But these kids were happening at the same time as him and Grimes were having their second child through a surrogate. So Grimes wasn't actually pregnant at the time, but someone else was pregnant with Grimes and his baby at the same time that the director at Neuralink was pregnant with 2 other of his babies. He has like 9 kids. I saw a New York Times headline today. It was like, he has 9 kids that we know of, but just like Boris Johnson, he's got like 7 confirmed, but everyone thinks there's more. R.I.P. Boris, stepping down. Announced he was stepping down today. Also timely. Him and Elon father lots of people with many women, and
father lots of people with many women.
That is what they do. And everyone thinks Elon probably has more than 9, but 9 are acknowledged. But then the one daughter like disowned him recently.
Yes.
He has a transgender daughter who just changed her name and doesn't want anything to do with him anymore.
She's neither a twin nor a triplet, right?
No, she's on her own.
She's on her own. The one single birth from the first wife. So he's got 6 with her. 7 with her? 6 with her?
It's got to be 5 with her because he's got 2 with Grimes and 2 with new director, and the Times is saying he's got 9 as of now.
Okay, so then yes, you're right. His daughter is one of the twins. His daughter's one of the twins.
Okay. Oh, okay.
This is important. We have to make sure we report this correctly.
We must be accurate about this for ethical reasons. I wonder if she's cut off from the money, but none of my business. I don't, what are you going to say?
Interesting speculation.
TikTok,
But
though,
the reason they found out, sorry.
No, go ahead.
The reason that they found out about these new twins is because the mother of them like filed some papers to get his last name like added to their name. So like there could be any number of, if they don't file any papers to get his name on there, who knows how many there are.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. That is interesting. No, I was just going to say, though, TikTok, though, like anytime, I don't like banning things, but anytime I hear like the FCC wants to like tell Apple and Google to get it off the App Store, I'm like, yeah, get it off the App Store. We don't need Chinese Vine like infecting our lives. I mean, God, I recognized 10 years ago with that first system, and I'm like, you know what? Watching short video, it's like that line that is often memed in Sopranos lore, when the original line was that remember when is the lowest form of conversation. But like, God almighty, short video is the lowest form of communication. I'm convinced of it. It is just nothing is worse for the brain, for the soul, everything else. I cannot abide it. We have joked many times about like doing a TikTok. If the State Department doesn't ban it, you never know. Is that your TikTok going off?
TikTok alert.
Yeah, exactly.
That's someone doing a little thing with music and words.
He was just loading up some of his favorites in the background there.
TikTok.
I mean, like I was thinking this morning, like when people kept talking about a TikTok dance, right? And I remember a time when all of us, pretty much regardless of what age we were, all of us were too cool to like make a dance video and put it up online. Like we were too cool to do that, and perhaps that was too rigid. Perhaps that was a little bit too rigid, a little bit too self-conscious, a little bit too image obsessed. But even if it was, that pendulum has swung way too far the other way, because we should feel some shame in posting our dance videos. If no one feels any shame in posting the dance videos are not worth anything. They're like pennies on the ground. Anyway, so summer is well underway here. We're recording this, by the way, Thursday, September 7th. September. Summer's underway.
I was like, something doesn't sound right.
That's serious. I'm like,
I didn't even catch it.
I was literally looking at the date on the bottom corner of the computer screen, 7/7/22, and I'm like, September 7th. Indeed. Which
makes sense because
I suppose it does. Look at that.
The Latin root. Yes.
I'm just speaking Latin, guys. I was being refined. No, but excuse me. July 7th, 2022. It's our usual Thursday night. We're recording a little bit earlier in the evening than usual. So we're just coming off 4th of July weekend, which we experienced a little bit of in the Monadnock region, and I found it very lovely. Right?
Yeah.
What?
I'll share. First of all, I have some friends who made the front page news, enjoying the Rindge festivities.
Let's be specific. They are new
Ringians, Rindgers,
in the Monadnock region in Rindge, the future.
What is their preferred term? Rindgers.
I like Rindge.
Anyways,
Rindgestannies.
Rindgestannies. Sam Abbott sold them their home. In fact,
yes. Get that phishing attack and all.
Yeah, hey, can't hold me back.
Nothing stops Sam from selling that home. Exactly. So that's cool. That's cool. I mean, there were many, many events every day of the whole weekend. And did we do something Friday?
That's
Friday
what I was.
Weekend? I swear to God, something went on.
We went to the pond.
Ooh, yeah, we ponded it up.
Yes, Friday was day 5 in a row of my big pond week.
Of the pond, yeah. Yeah,
it was It was the homeschool moms summer vacation week. We all like forced each other to go to the pond every single day. By Friday, we were like, are we for real doing this? But we did it.
And the
we
mom
loved it.
very graciously allowed me to come and tag along once or twice during the week. I'm happy to say, I'm blessed to say that I was allowed to join. I was allowed to join the homeschool moms for some time.
I mean, with no lifeguards, no rules, right?
Oh, no rules. It's so good. Yeah. Cunningham Pond 2022. There's going to be legends written about this. Yeah. And
but that was like a really, what's the word I'm looking for that day? Not wild, because that implies things that maybe are not true, but the whole playground program was there on the small beach that we normally take. So the other beach was like all the other people, and it was almost like a carnival. Like there should have been live music and like a hot dog stand.
It was a festive atmosphere.
It was festive. That's
atmosphere.
the word I was wanting.
Yeah. Not wild, but festive for sure. There's a lot of people there. People kept coming and going. Like it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. And then Saturday, it seems like Saturday was the day of the party, I think. I mean, I had a party. I think some other people were having parties. It was a good time. Good time for that.
Yeah.
Friday night
maybe your best party ever, as has been said.
Yeah, it has been said. And that's how I felt after it was over. I was like, it was the best one yet. It just turned, sometimes I like to throw a good party. I think that they're all good, but sometimes the magic just all comes together and you can't predict it and plan it. It just happens. And this was one of those times. We had a great fireworks show. Some of the neighbors came down. Know your neighbors. And JK,
not only did they come down bearing fireworks. I talked over you.
No, I just said JK. I don't actually know their names.
Yeah, I don't know if I caught their names either. But they
hung out with us for like an hour though.
They came down bearing a fireworks gift, and then we ran out of sparklers. And they're like, we have tons of sparklers. They went back to their house, came back with sparklers, and then they started like handing out sparklers to all the kids. So they were like, some good neighbors.
It was nice. It was really nice. And that was cool. And there was definitely some other people shooting off some rockets as well in the area because we could hear them. And so that was cool. And then Sunday, what happened on Sunday?
What happened during the day on Sunday? I don't remember.
Nothing.
But at night.
Greenville. Also the future. Greenville and Rindge. I'm telling you guys, in like 15 years, you're going to be like, DiLoretto said it. But I was very impressed by so they do this is a tradition that they have called the Midnight Pots and Pans Parade. But the festivities really start a little bit after 11 when they do a fireworks show. And
apparently they start at like 8 and they have vendors and food trucks and stuff.
They got to promote this more. We're going to help them next year because more people need to know all that's involved in this, because I would have gone there at least I wouldn't have gone there from 8 to 12, but I would have gone there at like 9:30, 10 o'clock. It would have been fun.
So we got there in time for the fireworks show. And I'm like, my experience of it is like, I'm driving to Greenville, and I had driven through Greenville like once or twice before, but I'd never like been to Greenville.
Yeah.
And so I was like, am I going to find this? Like, it's like I go past the town lines and I'm like, I don't know, like where I didn't look up where to go, where to park. I don't know what's going on. But like, as I get into town, there's just like people everywhere, like kids, moms with babies, like people are just like all over the sidewalk, pouring down the streets. I easily found a parking spot and like went down to join, all of these people that were like starting to gather for the fireworks. And then you showed up.
Yep.
We had a great spot to watch the fireworks, I felt.
Great spot. Yep. Right at the intersection of, it's like 123 and.
It's like 123 and 123.
Yeah, right.
Where it just like.
Yeah, it's where it swoops in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And 45 is the other road, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, so I drive through Greenville like twice a week. So I kind of figured, because I know it's a little town, and it kind of really only has that one main little drag. And so I was like, I don't know where. My concern was parking. I was like, I don't know where the hell to park, but I knew that the people had to be gathered like right down in that area. So that's why I headed there. And Midnight Parade, strange concept. I've forever called Greenville the strangest town in New Hampshire. I believe it's one of the youngest towns in New Hampshire as well.
The youngest.
Is it the youngest?
Like
it was split off.
In terms of demographics, or like most recently incorporated?
The municipality, yeah, literally.
Yeah. It's the town's life. It was split off from either Mason or New Ipswich. I can't remember which one, but not that long ago. Well, I mean, long time ago still, but in terms of most of the town borders were formed like a couple hundred years ago.
Right. More recently than like 1782, which is
exactly. Yeah. Right. And it's just has this really quirky character when you walk downtown. I am pretty sure. I haven't looked this up lately, and I do remember when I was looking at Peterborough's master plan, it was Rindge that stuck out, and I don't remember any stats on Greenville, but just anecdotally, I suspect that Greenville has a lower age, average age.
Well, what we witnessed, right? Like, and so we watched this great fireworks show surrounded by like kids and young people, and then Chris had a sick kid, so he didn't get to stay for the parade, and
I believe
it was a real bummer. But there was actual illness involved, so we, can forgive him. It wasn't just like someone not being happy to be up at midnight. But then, so like they leave, and it's like 15 minutes till the parade is supposed to start. And I thought that there were like a good number of people gathered around already, but they started just like absolutely pouring down from wherever it was that the fireworks had been, set off, I guess at the school. I'm not totally sure with the layout of Greenville, wherever like the vendors and the food were and stuff. They just start pouring down the hill. There's like the number of people that we had been watching the fireworks with was like a fifth of the people that gathered for this parade. And then then the parade starts with like the police car that was leading it off or whatever starts like going whoop, 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 and like doing its lights just to like get everybody psyched up. And then everyone in the audience starts like banging their pots and pans just like in reply. And then finally, like at midnight, the parade starts, and it's like a fairly short parade, but it starts with this police car, and then there's a couple of decorated trucks, like there's like the Trump 2024 flag waving truck. There's like one truck with some lights on it. There's like a classic car or two. There's a semi. And then like here's the noise starts. Like the semi comes out, just the like front part of it, whatever. It's covered in lights, and it starts honking its horn and throwing candy. And then like after that, everything just gets louder and louder and louder, because here come like 20 emergency vehicles from all over the region. And you know how like they'll honk their horn at a parade. Francistown Labor Day comes to mind. You just know, here they come. They're going to honk. You cover your ears. You brace for it, right? It is nonstop. Like they are like making every noise that their trucks can make constantly, all at the same time for the entire length of the parade. And everyone else is like banging their pots and pans and screaming in the crowd. And it's just like this really like, what did I call it? Like a patriotic primal scream. How much noise can we make at midnight to ring in the 4th of July? It was kind of cool.
Yeah. So I have some facts, actually, just to throw out there for the record. This is hilarious, really. So Greenville is like so Wikipedia still says one of the youngest, but let's say it's the newest town in New Hampshire, incorporated in 1872. So recently, and it was part of Mason, and based on the demographics, at least just loosely detailed in Wikipedia, Greenville is slightly younger than average. So I'm not wrong about that. But I just had to see in comparison, it's not nearly as young as Rindge is. Rindge has a median age of 29.7 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is wild. And I'm sure some of that has to do with the college, but that college isn't that big, you know? So
I think it has to do with all the Lutherans with 10 children.
In Rindge?
Yeah.
Aren't they all in New Ipswich?
They're in Rindge too.
Oh, they're totally.
Okay.
I gotta be careful, but they are indeed in Rindge.
All right, we don't have to go too far into that. Maybe that does have something to do with it. Very well could. It very well could. But Rindge and Greenville, look out for these towns, guys, because the future is going to involve them as players. I'm convinced of it. But also, Sununu was at this parade. He was riding in one of the fire trucks, which I think is cool. I was talking to my dad about this earlier today. Like he you know who he compared, and I don't know how many people listening to this will even get it, if there's any massholes listening, but like he compared Sununu to like Tom Menino, longtime mayor of Boston, because like Menino was somebody who like there was one point in time, and it was while I believe it was while I was living in Boston around 2002, 2003, when like some staggering number, like 70% of the residents of Boston had like encountered the man directly, like and like shook his hand or something like that. And I was one of them, you know, this guy was everywhere. He was like one of the best retail politicians I've ever seen in my life. And so is Chris Sununu. He's like that. That's why he was at this parade. That's why this guy is going to win anytime he's up for re-election, as long as he wants, because he's good. He's good. He's a nice seeming guy. He comes to the Greenville pots and pans, you know. He hangs out with the firefighters. Like these are the things that you got to do as a politician. And that's a great segue to.
But wait, if I may, Easton,
okay, go ahead.
Easton, New Hampshire, 1876.
Oh no shit. Okay.
Grafton County, fucking Easton. Fuck you. Should be Greenville.
Yeah. Fuck that.
You ruined Chris's segue.
I know,
no,
but
well,
anyway, so perfect segue.
It was a good one. I'm a big fan of the segue myself, and I was going to do this one if he didn't.
Please. I'll just start it over and just say Chris Sununu, phenomenal politician. He's really good at the retail politics, for meeting ordinary people, going out there and being at once smooth and an ordinary fellow. And another perhaps seemingly skilled politician who could be coming out of the woodwork that I want to talk about is who I would like to have on the program, I think, because I'm so intrigued. And this is going to sound funny coming from me, but I'm talking about the current, he's in his second term as mayor of, I say the word without choking, Mayor of Keene, George Hansel. Now, my interest in George started just like a couple days ago when I was at the dump in Peterborough. And I was coming out of the dump, and in a prime stretch of real estate, you know, where a lot of folks have to drive by coming out of the dump in that one-way lane, there's a big sign, Hansel for U.S. Congress. I said, Hansel, well, it's not that common of a last name. I said, I bet you that's the fellow from Peterborough. I mean, from Keene, excuse me. From Keene. And so what I knew about him before then is young guy. He's like 36 years old. He's younger than me. He's in his second term. I knew he was very popular. To confirm that, I looked it up, and he won his first election with like 52% of the vote in 2019. He won his re-election in 2021 with 91% of the vote.
Wow.
Yes, overwhelming majority in every one of Keene's, I forget if they call them districts or boroughs or what, but every single one of them just crushed it, 91%. Here's the kicker, and this is what really intrigued me. He's a Republican. He's a Republican, and that shocked me for a couple of reasons. Now, number one, I figured Southwest New Hampshire, not one of the rural towns, young, popular,
Yeah.
polished. And no offense to Republicans, but Republicans in New Hampshire are not always super polished. He looks like a Democrat. And for the record, I don't vote for either party, so I'm not coming down on either side here. But to me, he looks like a Democrat, and and Keene, because I had to look this up too, because Keene went 70% for Joe Biden in 2020. 70%. This is a pretty reliably, and has been for the whole 20 years I've been in New Hampshire, pretty reliably Democratic city. It's not Hanover, but it's pretty reliably Democratic. And, they voted 91% for, this young Republican fellow. We're reaching about the extent of my understanding and knowledge of all of this, so I don't have that many more facts to share. I'm inferring from what I've read and from what I've seen that George Hansel is probably not a Trump Republican. He does not seem that way. I assume that he couldn't. I just can't imagine that this guy in a 70-30 Biden-Trump town could have won with 91% of the vote 1 year later in the same place if he had at any point expressed any support for Donald Trump. I mean, we all know how polarizing, the whole Trump thing is, and how, you must be on one side or the other. People stop talking to friends and family members over this and think that's normal. It's not normal, for the record. Unequivocally, I want to be unequivocal about that. That is not normal or good behavior. Anyways, but that's how people are. That's how it is, right? And so I just can't. He can't. Either he has said nothing about it either way, like a skilled politician, or he's not a Trump guy. That's just my educated guess, is what I'm saying. But I believe he's running in a primary. I assume he has opponents. I don't think he has the nomination locked up. He's running for our congressional district over here on this side of the state. I was also intrigued. And another thing, and this is important to point out too, because because part of me was like, did he never tell anyone that he was a Republican before running for Congress? Did he, because, you don't necessarily have to declare party, although it does turn out that in his initial election, it was against Democrat Mitch Greenwald. Is that his name? Big real estate guy in Keene. I think his name is Greenwald. Let me just call this up real quick. So it does seem like that was a Republican versus Democrat race explicitly, but even before then, he won the Republican primary as a candidate for Cheshire 8 to the New Hampshire House of Representatives. So he ran in the Republican primary and lost in the general election to a Democrat. So he was known as early as 2014 as an even younger lad. He would have been 28 years old at the time as a Republican. So not a secret. And that's interesting to me. Someone who is a good enough politician to run in a Democratic town as a Republican. I mean, I mean, not to keep making Massachusetts comparisons, I'm really sorry, but that reminds me of like a Charlie Baker type situation, or even Chris Sununu when he first got elected, because New Hampshire was much more blue at that moment in time than it is, than I think I would describe it as today. I mean, New Hampshire goes up and down, so this isn't like necessarily a single trend line or anything, but like the moment that Sununu was initially elected, New Hampshire was a little bit bluer, in my opinion. That's my sense based on everything that I know. It's not just my opinion. It's my assessment than it is now. So not too much unlike Sununu initially, but definitely, a Republican governor in Massachusetts, that kind of thing. That takes skill. You have to be very skilled at what you're doing in order to reach people on that level, especially today when people vote very much on party lines. So I'm intrigued by this guy. I think at some point I'm going to reach out to him and ask him on the program, even though we don't typically invite Keene people on. He has his own radio show on the Keene radio station, which of course I don't listen to, the radio station, I mean. But I am intrigued enough to go. They're all online. Like I'm intrigued enough to go on the website and check them out because now I'm curious. I knew he was a young guy. I've got like 50 mutual Facebook friends with him, so I know that he spreads himself around. Like I know that he is known, even though I've never met him. I've never heard his voice. I don't know the guy. But I knew he was my age, which is interesting. It's Mayor of Keene, and very interesting, and all this stuff. But now that I know that he's a Republican and isn't necessarily towing anybody's line, now I kind of want to talk to the guy. So we'll see. George, I bet you don't listen to this program, but if any of your people do, and you are polished enough that I suspect you have people, come on the program anytime. Like I said, I think I'm going to try. I don't know if I'll reach out to you via Facebook. He's got a campaign website that doesn't have a lot of good contact ability on there, but I'm sure it's not that hard to get. He's the mayor. Not that hard to get a hold of him, I'm sure.
Important things happen on Facebook Messenger,
That's
could
right.
Be another one of them.
I'm sure, if I don't know him at all and we have that many mutuals, he probably accepts all requests. So I could just become friends with him and subject him to my ridiculous Facebook feed, and at the same time send him a message and ask him to come on the program.
Maybe he'll be so intrigued by you that he will have to say yes.
That is my hope. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm hoping for here. So yeah, that's not, normally we don't voluntarily talk about Keene unless we're bashing the Chamber of Commerce, which Luca, you said you wanted to chat, and I offered to chat and never heard back. So just for the record, everybody, we did invite Luca on, but maybe we'd rather have George Hansel on as our first Keene guest. It could be interesting. So what else we got going on? Actually, before we kind of close it out with some miscellanea, I do want to just mention again, we've teased this before and we're going to tease it a little bit further this time, but the night market is coming up. By the time this episode comes out, it will be about almost exactly a month away on the evening of August 12th from 5 to 9 p.m. And what we can say that we couldn't say last time is that it is official. We are doing, if we want to use the parlance of the 2010s, a pop-up space lounge. We're going to have our own area. It's likely going to be on the library patio that is run by GOMO/MU. And we're going to have an as yet unnamed jazz trio to close it out. But we're going to be doing basically a live program. We're going to have some guests come up that we're going to talk. We're going to host it as we always host in the Space Lounge together. And we're going to have a little, we'll have some dramatic skits, probably have a couple literary readings, a lot of jokes, and we'll end with some jazz. Really stoked about this. This is going to be a lot of fun. This is your chance to come and see us, have some laughs with us. If you're that kind of person, you can throw rotten tomatoes or eggs at us, if that's your kind of thing. If, we have enemies sometimes. You know where to find us. We're going to be on the library patio, up on stage, having a blast, just like I said, music, drama, literature, and there's going to be a bunch of vendors there as well with stuff for sale. So this is not separate from, this is a wing of the night market, and we could not possibly be more excited about it. It's like we've sort of dreamed about doing this in the past, and now we're going to do it. So big thanks to Roy Schlieben for inviting us along on this journey. He's the real night market hero who made this a thing. Absolutely one of the top 2 events in Peterborough in a given year that it happens, 100%. And it's his brainchild, and he has moved a lot of boulders to make it happen. And so as people who like to try to move boulders ourselves to create things out of nothing, we have immense respect for Roy and what he has done with this. And so we couldn't be happier, if you can't hear it in my voice, see it in my face, to be a part of this, to have like a little wing that is the Space Lounge. This will be really our first live GOMO Tonight event. So super exciting. We will talk about this a whole bunch of times between now and then, but wanted to get that dialogue started and get people hyped. Mark that on your calendar. It's a Friday night. Don't go anywhere. Don't do anything else. No camping. You don't want to do that. This is better than camping. If you're going camping somewhere, I don't care where it is, this is better. You don't want to sleep outside. Nobody needs to do that. Our ancestors absolved us of that. Anyways, I know we have a couple of really good police log items to perhaps talk about.
We do. Two that I wanted to bring to everyone's attention here. I'm going to go in reverse chronological order. We've got on Saturday, June 25th, a report of criminal mischief. At 2:26 a.m., a resident drove to the police department to report someone had slashed his tires. Officer Sheehan checked all 4 tires, which appeared to be new with no damage. Officer Hyland checked the tire pressure and was all set. The subject was advised to speak with the people that installed the tires if he continues to have a pressure problem.
Yeah, and as we were talking amongst ourselves before the program, it's like, this sounds like something that somebody would do if they were like fucked up or something, but like, I assume since this guy was like talking to police officers, like in his car, like with his car that he brought there for them to check out, that there might have been a different write-up in the police report if he were actually intoxicated. So what's up with this dude? How do you think that your brand new tires have been, not just because like I could buy brand new tires and I think I'm having a pressure problem and I'm going to go back to the tire people and be like, hey, I think there's a leak, right? But like, how do you imagine that someone slashed your tires, that there's a slash in them, and that's what's wrong on your brand new unpunctured tires, and then go take it to the cops
and drive it there as well? I think that's also worth pointing out.
Yeah.
Yes.
When I was reading it just now, there's a detail. It's unclear to me where it says Officer Hyland checked the tire pressure and was all set. Does that mean that there was actually a pressure problem that Officer Hyland was able to correct? Or did he check it and see that the pressure was fine and he was all set? Like,
right.
The wording is a little vague. I'm not sure.
Yep.
It does change. It changes the tone of the story a bit. Like, whether or not there was an actual pressure problem, I feel.
Yep.
The slashed and a pressure problem are two wildly different things, though.
That's correct.
That's why it's so
correct.
Weird.
But one is like, I'm completely delusional and I'm driving around on tires that are fine.
At 2:30 in the morning.
Or I have a pressure problem and that's the only thing I can think of. And it's a little crazy. It's like really crazy versus a little crazy.
They're both kind of crazy. I mean, you like the level of paranoia that you have to immediately assume with your pressure problem that it's been an attack. Like I've been assailed. My vehicle's
yes.
Someone has sabotaged me.
But imagining the sabotage as well as imagining a problem that doesn't exist.
Yeah, I know. No,
that's
I know.
Like a double.
It is. No, it's double. It's double. It is. No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. Well, I hope that person's all right.
Yeah. Yes. So do I. You're listening to the program and would like to explain what happened here. Let us know.
Okay. But speaking of stories that really demand an explanation, this is a very brief police log. I truly don't know anything more about this despite my privileged position with regard to rec. But on Wednesday, June 22nd, at 1:17 a.m., subjects found camping at Adams Playground were found to be rec department staff.
Now, is this something you could have found out about last night if you had gone to the rec committee meeting?
I will never know, I guess.
Yeah, I guess you'll never know. Maybe we can ask was Bill there?
What's that?
Was Bill Taylor was probably there, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, we could ask him maybe.
Yeah, this was in today's paper, so I wouldn't have known to ask about it.
I would like to know what, yes, I want to know. What, like, yeah. Were they testing it with, see, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just trying to figure out what possible reason there could be for camping, like setting up tents at the playground.
I mean, you're assuming there were like, who knows what this camping
right,
situation.
Well, I guess
I just imagine them in the car.
Right? They did say camping.
They did say camping, which I guess in my mind does imply a tent.
Yeah,
but doesn't have to be.
Right. Yeah, I just feel like if there were like people like laying there in sleeping bags, the report might read something like, there were some individuals sleeping at the playground. I don't know. I just feel like they might have worded it differently.
That's true.
Or just trespassing. You know what I mean? Like usually, like, without a structure, I feel like it has to be. I mean, either a tent or a fire, right?
Yeah.
Or at least a couple chairs in a circle or something. Like, you know what I mean? Something to make this a camp.
Yeah.
As opposed to like
there is a fire pit. Maybe they were just like enjoying that.
Maybe
chatting.
They were. Where's the fire pit?
a.m.
I don't think I knew there was a fire pit.
Oh yeah, they've had like some fire pit events there.
Well, were those the socially distanced bonfires?
They were.
Yeah, well, that's why I don't know about them.
Circles around their fire pit, which is there all the time, whether or not you
I love the.
Around it.
I'm sorry, we do pick on the rec department a lot, but I did. That was one of those egregious offenses along the lines of the search your kid's bedroom one. But this was just like, it was literally billed as a come and meet other families and new people. Also, limited attendance, and you must stay with your group, socially distance. And I was like, and this was like, and it was an outdoor event, like way after, like we all knew that like you basically just can't catch COVID outside.
Yeah, this was like last fall. It was like less than a year ago.
We weren't in the middle of this. There wasn't an excuse really for this. It was just bad. But yeah, so that's why I don't know about the fire pit, I guess.
Yeah, but also rec department staff, like, were they lifeguards? My immediate question.
Oh God! All right, listen. If anybody's listening to this episode and they've listened to this far, if it was the lifeguards camping at the thing, I'm not trying to pick on them. I swear to God, I mean them no ill will.
Time if it was.
I mean them no ill will. I hope they had fun. I'm glad they were there and not at the pond. Sorry. My bad. Yeah. Well, what do we say? We're at an hour and 3. That's probably a good note to wrap it on, I think.
That unsolved mystery. Semi-solved mystery.
This is another one where if anybody has any more information about this incident. I mean, I was saying to these guys, I'm like, like when we read these police logs, right? But like there's in almost all of these cases, there is a police report that exists somewhere that has more details and is longer, that is publicly available. There's going to come a time where we want to file a freedom of information request for records from the town. And I don't want to be that guy who's like overburdening departments of the town with ridiculous requests, as some others have done over the last couple of years. We don't want to bother them with frivolous requests. So I'm probably not going to waste a FOIA request on the rec staff at Adams Lake. Probably, I'm sure it's there though. But if anybody just wants to volunteer this information so that a town employee doesn't have to do it, we're curious as hell. We're ready to hear the story. And until we hear the story, we will just let our imaginations go wild with what that could be. Speaking of imagination, we'd like to thank, as always, our sound lord, Chad Patterson, who is a veritable wizard when it comes to the audible arts. Chad, excuse me, whose name I do in fact remember. Chad was at our party. As I mentioned in the previous episode, he came in his civilian capacity, not as a sound lord or producer or band member, because Chad does like sound editing, mixing, production, etc. Anything that you can think of, setups, whatever, as part of his studio117.net, which we will have in the show notes. But he is also the driving force behind one of, I would say, 2022's top debut dad rock cover bands in the state, in the effing state. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. In fact, including parts of Massachusetts. These guys have gotten bookings like every weekend and then some all over the place. Down by 10 is their name, and they can come to any event that you're doing as long as it's a day that they're not booked. But seriously, if you've got things coming up in the fall and even like the holiday season, you should get in touch with these guys now, because they are booking up that far in advance. Really exciting stuff. Down by 10. Chad's a great guy. He does all this for us. He's a saint, in fact, actually, for doing that. So shout out to Chad. He's responsible for, if you're hearing this and you like the sound quality and you like the way that the music blends in, and this is true today of our video watchers as well, because we now have a video version each week with which Chad has helped get our theme music into and get the edited quality, because again, he's the man. If you enjoy that stuff, it's Chad who's responsible for that. So look him up for any of your needs, musical or sound related. That's our show for this week. Thank you very much for joining us. George Hansel, we are coming for you, buddy. We're going to get you on here. All right. Enjoy the summer, everybody. This is the greatest goddamn time of the year. Everything is great. Come down to the festive pond, take a trip to the beach, do what you got to do, shoot off some fireworks. Who cares about the dogs, right? All right. Thank you for coming along. Until we meet again, and we will be back on a once a week cadence for at least the next few weeks. So until next week, as you go about in the sunshine, hopefully not pissing off too many dogs, hopefully not camping where you're supposed to. Whichever of the things that you do, though, that stay within or outside of the lines, remember to take good advice. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.